Hello and welcome back to another FIFA 23 player review. Today's player review is Team of the Season moments, Valentin Castellanos. I do apologise if that's not how it's pronounced in Argentina. But with that being said, let's get into the review. As always, I start off with the team. Now, this team is just an absolute mishmash of players. Loads of different nations, loads of different leagues, but to be honest, it was actually quite decent. And with that being said, let's look at my stats for Castellanos after my 3 Rivals games. On the screen, you can see I played 3 Rivals games, scored 4 goals, 0 assists, so let's head into the gameplay. Okay, so into the gameplay for Castellanos we go. And as you can see, the first game, my opponent just quit at 0-0. Then Paulinho into Castellanos on his weaker left foot, smashing it into the bottom right hand corner. Then a couple minutes just before half time, Ginola into Castellanos. I saw him move his goalkeeper, so I went near post yet again. And that's how the game finished at 2-1. Then Castellanos, very similar to his first goal, very good on his weaker left foot. Now, this is the final clip, so I'll be back with the pros and cons in a second. So now that you've seen the gameplay, moving on to the pros and the cons, starting off with the pros. First of all is his pace. Now, his pace is once he gets up to speed, and what I mean by this is he has to sprint for a little bit to actually get any pace, and I think this is because he has the controlled run type, which is just the absolute worst, because it means they don't really sprint until they have like a really long distance to run. Shooting, absolutely fantastic. I mean, he could have scored more, but to be honest, I don't know how these goalkeepers were pulling off half the saves they were, because usually they're falling flat on their bum and just letting anything and everything in. Then his dribbling, he actually felt very agile on the ball. The next pro is his ability to actually win the ball quite high up the pitch. Now, it sounds strange, but from my experience on FIFA, a lot of strikers don't actually win the ball. But this Castellanos card, for some reason, when he tackles, he actually gets the ball. And it's amazing because if you've ever played FIFA, you know that tackling is absolutely shocking. So it was a very nice surprise. And then his final pro has to be his physicals. Very strong, good in the air, and that's about it. On to the cons for Castellanos. I would have to say his controlled run type. Now, as I said in the pros, his pace is a pro, but it's also a con because of the controlled run type. It just takes so long for them to actually start sprinting, but once they do start sprinting, then they are actually what the card stats say. So it's quite a difficult one because he was fast, but the controlled run type just absolutely kills it half the time. If he was lengthy, then I would say this card is an absolutely incredible free card. And then the second con, something that doesn't really affect me because I don't use skill moves, but just making 4 or 5 star skill moves. At this point, nobody really cares. So, do I think you should give this Team of the Season moments Valentin Castellanos a go? And for me, I would probably say no. Now, I know I've given him quite a positive review, but for most people, he's just never ever going to fit into your team. I think it's at that stage of FIFA where he is a very good card, but he just doesn't fit the meta, unfortunately. If he was lengthy, then he would be 10 times better. If he had the highest skill moves, more people would use him. And I found him to be very clinical in front of goal, but it was just the controlled run type that absolutely killed this card. And also the fact that he plays for Girona. Unless you run a La Liga team, then to be honest, he is actually quite difficult to link. But for a free card, because you only have to complete 5 daily login SBCs, he's basically just really good fodder at this point. For me, I actually quite enjoyed him. Maybe use him as a super sub. If you were playing champs, bringing him on in the 70th minute, I don't think that would be a bad thing. But ultimately, I think he's just fodder at this point. I'd like to thank you all for watching this player review. If you did enjoy it, drop a like, comment down below if you're going to give him a go, and if you're new, hit that subscribe button. But for now, I'll see you in the next one.